Okay, hi guys, and welcome back to the Pain into Power podcast. Okay, so this video is called How Love Can Change Everything, and the reason why I'm talking about this is so recently my last video that I did about the repercussions of COVID-19 that nobody's talking about, that was a video I just did. Basically, in that video, I talked about how fear has had. I think fear is one of the main things I've realised has had a big effect on me, and it has affected a lot of things in my life. I also think something I notice about all of us is social media definitely makes it really difficult for us to have high self-esteem. And there's all this competitiveness and all this comparing and all of this. So, you know, there is such a lack of like unconditional acceptance and love for ourselves and for other people, right? And so why I've come on here to say that, you know, how I think love can just change everything is because since me like coming back to my own self-worth, my own self-love, and like really working on my self-esteem, because I didn't realise actually how low my self-esteem was, and like how much sometimes we mask, and like how much sometimes certain things like keep us safe. But also I feel like how much of myself that I wasn't unconditionally accepting. And also I when I really lost myself, and when I really struggled with like my mental health and really felt like I just kind of lost myself and lost everything that I ever sort of cared about or loved, I kind of went through like a big tower moment, and it really like I really struggled with my mental health for a long while, and I felt very disconnected and very alone in that time period. But what I do feel like in that time, what happened was that I started to realise the reason why my self-esteem was so low is because I was seeing myself through a lens that was either, you know, societal expectations, that kind of lens, or like norms and ideas, that kind of lens. Like, you know, if I look at myself through a queer lens, I'm like, oh, you're great, you're not weird, you're not like too out of the box, you're not crazy, like, you know, I just think, oh, you're cute, quirky and fun, like, yeah. Like if I look for myself through like a queer lens, or like certain lenses that align more with like, you know, my truth and who I am and whatever, it's like then I can see myself with love, and I'm gonna like, yeah, I can see myself with love. And I think because I've seen myself at such dark lows as well, I'm like, I see you, and like I love you unconditionally, because I just feel like I just want to love you unconditionally, because I've seen what you've been through, and I understand. You know, but that's what kind of happens. I feel like you get so close to yourself, and when people hurt you, and they don't mean to, but I think sometimes people can only like, sometimes people are seeing you through a lens that is distorted by their own, you know, you've probably heard this a lot, but it's just a case of people can only see you as far as they see themselves, and as far as they've done the work in themselves to understand those parts of you, and to not resent you, or to not be jealous, or to not, you know, to be able to love you and accept you unconditionally. Not a lot of people can do that for you because they haven't done it for themselves, or they don't do that for themselves, and nobody maybe around them ever did that for them, you know, or whatever it is. You know, people usually hurt people, but, you know, hurt people usually think, I don't want to hurt anyone because I know what it's like to receive that. But, you know, everyone's everyone, and everyone's on their journey, and everyone's a part of the whole thing, and it's all love. But yeah, I feel like we get so easily swept up in like, oh, through a model lens. Like if a model agency was to look at me, they would say, you know, through that kind of lens, maybe I would be like the ugliest person in the world. But through a lens of like unconditional love and acceptance of who I am and what I have a scar on my face. If you want the story on that, let me know. But I can't really be bothered. It's short, long, not really. I was just young, carrying something China, and then but that's something I've had to learn to embrace on my face, is this scar, you know. And like, I know I'm not, you know, there's a lot of things about myself that I actually do wish I could change, and I have been insecure like most of my life, because school was hard, because I was from a different area to the area that my school was in. It was out of my catchment area, the school that I went to. So I think that I then started to realise that all these different ways that I like stood out, and that I was different and whatever. But I'm just a working class queer girly pop who I think is like riddled with ADHD and like creative energy, I feel. And so I struggle to be like in the norms, and then so I've really struggled with like hating myself and just thinking that I'm just awful, and like I'm not normal, and I'm like so unorganized, and I'm just like horrible to be around, and like no one could possibly put up with me because I'm just so much, like I'm just too much. When actually, like, now now that I see myself through like the only lens I want to be seeing myself through, which is this unconditional lens of like unconditional love and acceptance that I have for myself, because, you know, I let go of what anyone else wants or needs from me. It's about whether how I turn up in my life makes me feel good, and whether I, you know, I love making other people feel good also, but yeah, I think it's become a massive priority of mine to not let other things or other people or my ideas of what's pretty, my ideas, because it's even my own. You even have to free yourself from your own self, because it's your own self that is actually the worst to you sometimes. Like, oh girl, you look bad in that, or like, you know, when you're like looking in the mirror and when you're like, and you just, but you're internalizing, like, how am I going to be perceived? How am I going to be perceived? How am I going to be perceived? Like, and there is that constant, like, there is always that expectation to be perceived in a certain way. Like, whether you're in a school environment, it's like, who's the coolest, who's the prettiest, who's the most popular, who's the most like mean as you know. No, I'm kidding, but it's like those structures, those things at work. Who's the hardest worker? Like, who's the manager? Who's the boss? Who's that? Sorry, I keep burping. I'm sorry. I've just had a cinnamon roll and I'm now drinking my cacao, and it's it's playing games. But yeah, you know, you end up seeing yourself through all these warped lenses, whether it's your own ideas of what's pretty and what's okay and what's like, you know. But then when you start to like unravel these, it's like you actually feel so sorry that you were so hard on, like, you feel so sorry that you can't accept, like, you haven't been so loving and accepting of yourself. Like, I was so hard on myself at one point. Sorry, I know you can see that light in my glasses. Is that annoying? Do I look crazy like that though? Guys, it's because I'm just like, it's like nighttime and I'm just like not suitable for the camera right now, so I'm just like anyway, no, of course I'm suitable for the camera, I'm beautiful. This is what I mean. I just have a default setting of like, you are not pretty enough, or like, you know, whatever, like, I don't know what that is, and so anyway, that's like old news to me now. Like, even if I think those things, I just think, no, that doesn't need to like, I don't need to feel that really and let it like like, I know that it's still a thing that is kind of like wired into my being of like, you know, who do I need to be to best serve this person, this problem, this role, this, you know. And I think freeing yourself of that is so crazy, because you will lose people because you're not people pleasing anymore, and you will lose people because you're not performing or turning up in the ways that they need anymore. You're actually just turning up as your raw ass self, and you're asking them, can you love me unconditionally? Like, can you love me, you know, fully and unconditionally? Yeah, unapologetically if you want, I don't know. Whatever you want. But yeah, and I think sometimes that's asking a lot of people. And so, because I'm so like far from the norms and I don't hold myself, like, well, I mean, I have been for a stage of holding myself to ridiculous standards, but yeah. And what am I talking about? I feel like I'm getting off track and I don't know where I am. This happens to me too much and it's not good. Yeah. So your image is distorted by like a million different things. Your image and your idea of life, your idea of yourself, your idea of other people, your idea of the whole entire thing is just distorted by your experiences, by your conditioning, and by by your experiences, basically. And so it can be really hard to know the truth, but when you come and tap into the truth is that you deserve unconditional love. Whoever taught you that you didn't, like, there could be so many things that infiltrated you to just really hate on yourself and whatever it is, and other people and the world around you. You know, or you might think that you're great, you might think the world's great, you know, that's the aim, to get there. But that also is like society, that's like someone who's like so self-absorbed and like, you know, sort of like overly confident. And it's like not a desirable thing. We do like have this thing of like, oh, I need to play small. And I think that's why I struggle so much sometimes, because I struggle to keep myself small and like contained in a box. And then I feel like I'm absolutely alien. Like, I feel like I'm crazy because am I the only one that's like, I need to burst out, like I need to, but it's not, I'm not the only one. We're all literally thinking the same. It's just we all feel different levels of fear of how far can we express that, how and other people, some of us, like, you know, there's so many different environments and reasons why we're affected. But, you know, let me get back to the point of like kind of what I was saying is, when you rebuild your self-esteem and like really, really realize that you are worthy of unconditional love, like whatever taught you that you weren't, it's just like, it could be anything. But honestly, when you align to the truth, you realise that you're worthy of unconditional love. Of course you are. Like, you're a spirit and you're a body, and your body is like a magical miracle. Like, you are a miracle. Your body is a miracle. This life is a miracle. But it's so easy not to see it like that. And I can see and feel exactly why you wouldn't. But can you also see and feel exactly why you could? Because, like, not why you could, but why there is, like, why life is just actually like, it is that miracle. Even if it doesn't feel miraculous right now, the fact that you're alive is absolutely crazy. The fact that we're all alive, living this massive crazy thing, it is crazy. It's a miracle. But anyway, I'm going so off track. I'm so sorry, but y'all are in for the ride, and I know you are, so let's do it. But yeah, so viewing yourself through a more aligned lens and truthful lens of unconditional love and acceptance of both yourself, the world, and other people. Like, the world is not perfect. You are not perfect. Wow, I haven't even thought about that. Yeah, the world is not perfect. Maybe I should have more slack for the world. Well, she playing up. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, the world we live in and the life we live it's never going to be perfect. It's always going to be, you know, the yin and yang is always going to exist, and there's always going to be some sort of contrast of what's happening. But, you know, you're not perfect. There's always going to be contrast. There's always going to be different parts of yourself, loads of different, like, sort of, you know, and other people are never going to be perfect. But how can we love and accepting unconditionally is how we grow and evolve. It's how we and it's how we align also and magnetize to the things that we are destined for. Because if you stay in your authenticity, and you may have heard this before, it's like the right people will love you for you. It's like, or whatever it is, you know, shine bright, because realistically you're not going to be too bright for those people that need that light or want that light or appreciate that light or that shine their light too, or like other people that were waiting. Like, I met some girls in uni, and it was like we finally were like sat around this table, and it felt like I said to them, I felt like I was the only lit tea light in a room, and like nobody was like, there's no one to help fuel that light. It was just me on my little tea light on my own, and like people were coming in and just pouring water on me and like just stamping me out, and like I'm, you know. And then it was like them two came into my little room and put their 2 tea lights, and we just ended up being a little 3 in a circle over this little thing. And it was like we were just talking and we connected so much, and we were so like talking about the whole world, and just, but like being kind of, you know, enraged feminists and like justice queens. We were just like ran this little thing being like but it felt like so relieving to just find people that were just as passionate and as raw and as real and as understanding and as like passionate people. I was like, I'm like, yes, passionate, because I can't deal with like the whole and I don't blame anyone for however they, you know, deal with this world. Like, is what it is. Like, it's hard not to get bogged down, you know. I'm not, you know, it's hard to be passionate people about this world. Like, I get that. I totally get that. But the least you can, like, the least you can do is love yourself. Like, the least you can do is love yourself. It starts there, and then literally you start to realize how much you like. Then you can kind of accept the world and the people in it and yourself and yourself. But yeah, so this is how you then get into those. So by being your authentic self, you literally attract in what is meant for you, and you literally like you actually say yes to yourself, of like, yes, be the person you want to be and have the life you want to have, and attract the people you want to attract. And it does feel like when you first start going off when you first start making crazy choices, going against the grain, and like just really choosing yourself and like self-love, you really feel alone, and you really feel like, it's, you know, is this the right way? Is it ever going to come, kind of thing? But like, it takes the work in you first. Like, it takes you to really land on that actual I love myself like, I actually feel like I'm there where I love myself so unconditionally, and I accept myself so wholly and fully and unconditionally, that I can finally get to live my life. Like, I'm free of judgment and free to love. Like, I can finally live my life because I'm not holding like everyone else's like needs or requirements of me. I'm doing exactly what I need for myself and my future and my family and my friends and my life. And I hope that ripples to the mass, like, you know, the masses. That's what I want to do here. Like, that is what I want to do here, right? And so this is how I think love can change everything, because I think it really starts with love with you, but, you know, and loving other people. But you just love, I feel like, can just bring you back to where you need to be, and remembering like, okay, everything is okay, and actually, okay, everything's all right, and actually this world is magnificent, and the trees are immense, and like the nature is holy and massive and wide and vast and nuts. Nature is nuts. And if you struggle to feel the significance of life, and you've lost all the magic, and you just feel so deadbeat down, I'm like, stop listening to the frequency of the Matrix, because it stinks. Go into the forest and just listen to the birds and the water trickle, my little treacle. Sorry, I don't know where that's come from, but you're my little treacle tonight. Self-love club, little treacle. Maybe call yourself little treacle. Maybe just be like, what do you need, treacle? And that can just pull you out of a depressive state, I fear, you know. But honestly, it's things like that when you reach those bottoms, like the depths of hell with yourself. I feel like you just honestly, you acquire such a level of humour, number one, and just also such a level of love for yourself. So that's self-love, right? And then the other separate part of this, so the next part, I wanted to talk about how love can change everything. What kept coming to me earlier is like being a kid and not needing or wanting to worry. You know, like when you were a kid, and you know, you'd hear adults talk about like, oh, just to be a kid again, and you'd hear adults talk about how good it is to be a kid, and you think, what's so wrong with being an adult? Like, God, are you not all right? Like, no, but also like, you just don't even think about half the things that adults are obviously thinking about, right? And then you don't even realise the extent of it, right? And you're just not there yet. You don't need to worry about it. Like what our adults are like thinking about the washing up and the stuff like that. And like my mum used to say like, well, you know, my dad used to moan at me like, why am I so like, why do I just like? I'm like, well, I'm not thinking about. I don't want to think about organising the cupboard. Like I'm 10. Like I don't want to. Well, to be honest, there's a certain level of pick your coat up and put it on the coat peg and do not create a wardrobe. So yeah, there's definitely you know, a level of learning how to be respectful and not respectful, but learning how to be like self-sufficient and not just like, you know, if you pick up around kids too much and if you mollycoddle them too much, they're incapable of, you know, being a human and doing every day-to-day task sort of thing. So there is a balance with that. But you know what I mean, when like you're a kid and like you get asked to do a chore or something, you just think it's the most like, you think, oh, and I think what makes me laugh is like, as we get older, I feel like we start to give ourselves these chores. Like when you're a kid, you just think, oh, and when someone asks you to do something, you don't want to do it 10 times more. And like every boring task is like, no. You're so like desperate to be alive and full of life. Like you're so desperate to be like out on the streets playing with your friends, or you're desperate to just be like doing anything but boring tasks. Like you're a child, you're alive, you want to ask questions, you're curious, you want to be out, you want to go see your friends, you want to do things that excite you. You don't as much want to be thinking about whether the washing up's done or whether you know. And some kids have to, you know, some people have to grow up quick like that. Some people are doing the washing up and the food shop at like 10 and upwards, you know. And this is the thing, this is like, yeah, there's a level of innocence that can get stolen and taken away from certain people, but I think those people honestly always grow up to be the most incredible, invincible, like insane people. Like I know some people that honestly, like some of the special people in my life, like honestly, like some people that are even like younger than me just inspire me to the nines, because I just think like, and even like myself in a way, like it's just like hitting those deep dark rock bottoms, and not even deep dark rock bottoms, but like sometimes having that innocence taken away from you and having to show up in different ways actually really does create you into like some sort of like, you know, strong ass adult. But it also can create quite a traumatized, broken person. So like there's but then I feel like healing just comes hand in hand with that. Like it's just like healing is that savior, you know, and like pain into power is that savior of like, I'm just saying that I think that there is so much that can take this innocence away from us. I think all of us sort of kind of even get to a certain age, and if you're on I think as well, social media just robs the innocence of so many young people. I think that, you know, yeah, technology, social media, that kind of thing has like literally infiltrated the minds of probably such young children. It's actually quite scary to think about. But, you know, what I'm saying is that innocence can be eventually, as you turn into an adult, you just fall out of love with life sometimes, and you get disenchanted, and you get bogged down by all, and it's easy to happen, honestly. I know how, yeah, like honestly, it's easy to get there. But I feel like remembering when you're a kid, remembering like, sometimes just look at the washing up and go, I'm not doing ya. You know, I'm going to leave you for a good hour, or I'm going to leave you till tomorrow morning, mate. You know, or like give yourself a break off the washing for one day, or like take yourself out for food one day and just be like, I'm actually not cooking. Like, I know it's obviously whether you can afford or whatever, but pour into you. Like, this is the thing. This is why love literally solves everything, because when you're a kid, you just want to be alive and you believe in like life still, and you still think that like things are so cool that you can still go out and like you're like, well, what's to moan about? I can go down the pub. I'm like, pub? What? Well, I was a pub child, to be fair, but that's a different story. My nan was in the pub business, etc., etc. And also my family's the big drinkers, but yeah. Why are you talking about the pub? I can't remember what I was saying about anything now. This is constant that happens to me, honestly. It's terrifying. I'm sorry that you have to be a witness to it. So I put here, being a kid, not wanting or needing to worry about anything, it is a form of love not to let yourself, it's a form of love to not let yourself or make yourself worry and fear so much. Yeah, so it's a form of self-love to be like, hey, how about you start worrying about it? Hey. How about right now none of it's happening? And how about right now you're on the sofa and you're safe? Or like, how about right now let it all go and just honestly do something that's going to chill you out? How about right now bath, don't even think about it? How about right now go on a run? How about right now do something creative? How about right now do whatever you need to do to take the edge off? Okay, like how about right now, whatever it is. I'm not encouraging things, but what I'm saying is a form of self-love is to say to yourself, you don't have to hold all of that. Maybe it's time to start letting go of some of that. And how can you let go of some things and to welcome in other things? Like an example I feel like would be healthy eating. Okay, it's like, how can we not be so obsessive on healthy eating and like take the joy out of eating and take the joy out of life and love and everything itself? Because I love food and I just hate that relationship got a bit skewed along the way there. And I'm sorry if that's a trigger for anyone, and I love you and I love you and I love you. But yeah, it's horrible that those things, you know, all these things become these like stresses, these worries, these fears, these anxieties, these you know. And so what I think is important to remember in that is like, see which ways can you relieve yourself of stress and fear and anxiety and worry, and what ways can you replace that with love and care and nourishment and like freedom and like joy, childlike joy. Like, how can I replace that with play? Actually, how can I replace that? Like, okay, I have got the washing and all this to do, but let's put some scatty tunes on and have a dance. Like, let's, you know, put some incense on and just like, dance is the best therapy for the soul, and I'll swear by it. But if you're not someone who's able to dance, then sing. If you're not someone, like, you know, then draw, colour, move, write, anything that just sort of gets you in that like connected to love. Go to see the trees, sit with the trees, sit with silence, sit with frequencies, binaural beats, whatever it is. Breathe, have a cacao, your favourite chocolate, your favourite hot chocolate, your favourite hot drink, like anything you can do to love yourself, you know, self-care, you know, keeping yourself clean and like doing your painting your nails and luxuries and treats. I forgot what treating myself was always been unfamiliar, and now I treat myself and I feel like it actually opens me up and magnetizes me to actual healthy relationships and like healthy reciprocal experiences and relationships, because I am putting myself first and because I am literally loving myself first, so that it's like people can only fill me up, no one can take away from me, because I am so full and I'm literally pouring into me. Like anything that tried to come at me right now, I'm just bounce the back off, like, do you know what I mean? Like, anyway, it's like I'm covered in Vaseline, boo. Sorry, that was crazy, but yeah. Okay, so just to wrap this up, if you knew that love was always with you and love was always listening, okay, excuse that huge massive spot on the side of my face there, that's actually a volcano that's occurred. Oh god, I think that's actually quite crazy. I might have to report that to the weather system, because she looks dangerous. The weather system, I don't know. But yes, so if you knew that love was always around, love was always available to you, and love was always listening, you know, what would you, so if you knew that it was always there and it would respond to you, and if you asked it questions like, you know, what is happening, why is this not happening, and pray, like, not pray, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's like, if you knew love was listening, start acting as if love listens to you, and acting as if like the universe loves you and listens to you. Not, it's hard how to explain what I mean without sounding like a silly boy. Silly boy, I don't know. How would you dare to like communicate differently? How would you dare to dream differently? How would you dare to believe in more? Like, if you knew that love would answer to you and listen to you, like, even if you didn't feel like it at the time, even if you didn't see anything, even if you just knew that it was working behind the scenes, even if you knew that it was just sat within you, kind of always there, hearing you, seeing you, knowing you, right? How about if that love, you know, is like waiting to respond to you? Well, how about if that love is like ready for when you want to ask it questions? Go and see that, like, what I'm saying is ask for more. Remember as well, like, remember as well what it was just to do things because it feels good. Like, remember as well what it was just to be a child and just get so excited about sweets and going and taking £2 down to get sweets. Like, think about, just remember how good it is just to feel good and do the things that you want to do because they make you feel good. Like, go and do the things that you enjoy that actually bring you like childlike, silly joy. Or, and I know that might not be many things left for you now as an adult. Like, what can I do that really brings me silly joy? And everyone's gonna be different, but there's always something there to help you tap into that play. You know, think of that younger self, if it's okay for you to do that and if you're safe to do that. Think of that younger self and hold that space for them, hold them, you know, whatever it is they need, give them that attention. But eventually they're going to start to tell you, okay, that was my pain, but are you ready for my dream? You know, like, that was my pain and thank you for holding me and like thank you for seeing to me. And once that's out the way and it's not so horrible to kind of go back there, and to go into yourself all the time when there's so much darkness in there and there's so much hatred and there's so much shame, it's so hard. That's why people don't go in there. And don't let those people try and anyway, sorry, but it's just people don't go in because it's so scary to look at themselves. It's so scary to see the truth, right? Because not all of it's always going to be happy dandy and brilliant, and a lot of it can be painful and hard, and it can be trauma and things that you carry from all sorts, right? And the truth is hard to swallow. But eventually you get to give love to that person. You get to really know that person and what that person needs and what that thing needs, that child, that inner teen, that inner you, that higher you, whatever it is. Yeah, it's like you just connect to that love and that truth, and then you finally are like, oh, Gwen, omelette. No, you're like, oh, I can't stop hearing Nessa now. Oh, yeah, you know, you don't need to let worry and fear take over your time, your space, your everything, take over your faith, your belief in the world. It is easier said than done, period, because that is literally easier said than done, okay? But that is the thing that I'm just letting you know will free you eventually over time. I know it's not a linear, like, it just takes time. Have patience with it, because it is so worth it. Because to be sat in the position where I am now, I feel like I'm genuinely free from myself, like free from my, well, I know I can probably still have, like, myself is the one I'm scared of the most. Other people can say what they want about me. I can easily just kind of like, okay, cut that off or whatever. But with me, it's like I'm stuck in this. I got to a point once where I was like, sorry, actually really uncomfortable in my own body, my own mind, my own everything. I just hated it, wanted to get out, used to feel like I wanted to be crushed, just wanted to be just crushed. I remember those times, I just wanted to be crushed, and I still love the thought of that, but like, that's just a sensory thing, I think. But honestly, I just wanted to be crushed into the dust and dirt because I just had enough of everything. It was too much for me. But now, like, let this be your standing proof that now that I've connected back with myself, self-love, trust, self-esteem, like my soul, worked a lot on my like 3 lower chakras, like my root, my sacral, my solar. You don't realise how much you just need to be grounded and rooted in the truth of who you are and where you came from and what you're worthy of, and what you desire and what you dream, and allow yourself to dream, allow yourself to be a child, allow yourself to be creative, allow yourself to be free and play and do different and rebel and be rebellious. Rebel girls. Ugh. Yeah, so that's my message for tonight. How love can just change absolutely everything. Even if you think about like romantic loves and like friendship, platonic romantic loves, just like not romantic, but I mean like friendship, like just all kind of love, and how it all kind of forms that it can come in. Like, this is why I don't understand how people can be homophobic or whatever. I'm like, how can you not love? You can't say that love isn't beautiful in all its, even like when animals fall in love, it's just so cute. And like, love is just the answer to everything, you know, I really do think, not the answer to everything, but I think that love is what will free. Only love can set you free. Yeah! Oh, what a tune. I'm gonna have to put that in. So, okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to put that in the description box below. So guys, I'm gonna leave that there. Feel free to comment and just like interact with this video, because I love to hear what you guys have to say, and I love everyone that's been commenting on my videos. It's just so nice, because it's nice to connect, and it's nice for me to know that people are hearing my voice and enjoying my content. Please like, subscribe. What else do you have to do? Don't know, just do whatever you need to do to help me out. I'm not very good at this stuff, but yeah, like and subscribe, And comment. That's the other one. I was waiting for another one. I knew there was another one. I was like, comment. And also go check the description box below, because I always put free songs, free affirmations in the description box for you. Okay? I love you so much, guys. Drop a little cherry in the comments if you got this far. Don't know why I thought of cherry, but I'm just feeling... Yeah, I'm feeling sweet and like a treacle cherry. Yes, treacle. Okay, put treacle and a cherry in the comments if that's all you want to comment, you know. And if you just want to put it on the end, whatever, just cherry it up in the comments, because I'm just feeling sweet like chocolate. No, sorry, I've lost the plot. I am going to go now. Yeah, unconditional love. I wish that upon all of you, for you to be able to unconditionally love yourself and others, okay, and unconditionally love and accept yourself and others, because that is what you deserve, and that is what everybody else deserves, and that is what everyone deserves, okay? Love. Love is the answer. Love is the answer. Okay, I've got to go now because I'm singing too much, okay? And nobody needs that. Love you.